It's Dean Windass, ladies and gentlemen. Dean, are you well?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah.
Looking forward to the game?
Yeah, certainly. Now this gentleman said that he's never seen us lose, so that could be a good omen today, hopefully.
It could be. I'll be having a chat with them after the game if we do lose, though, I've got to tell you. But I hope you're right, Per. That'd be fantastic. I'll get your name right eventually, obviously. That wasn't bad, was it? That wasn't bad. Southampton fans, you like this one, I think. I hope you will. A man who, well, he was a bit of a character, and he played his football pretty hard like they used to in the, I was going to say the old days. He's not that old, and he's looking very trim. 389 first-team appearances, I think I'm right in saying. Would you please welcome, he is a bit of a Southampton legend, it's Francis Benali. Francis, welcome. I'll start with you, because you actually have been to the KCOM, sorry, quite a few times in the last year or two, most recently for a charity event. Just tell us a bit about that.
That's right, Alex. 2 years ago, I ran to every Premier League football stadium and obviously came here as part of that challenge. And about a month ago, I decided to take a challenge again for cancer research, where I ran and cycled to every Premier League ground and Championship club. I was looking to run a marathon every morning, then do at least 75 miles on the bike. So I was doing a minimum of 100 miles a day every day for 2 weeks. And so to come here today in a car is quite a novelty and makes a change rather than running and cycling to the stadium. But yeah, wonderful to be here and looking forward to the game.
Yeah, well done. Dean, let's have a word or two about the game from City's perspective. We won't give away team news if you know it just yet, because we're not quite ready. But you can speculate a little bit. Mbakani and Snodgrass, I think I'm right in saying, were the two main question marks, and we just weren't quite sure whether they were going to be involved or not.
No, I think you can say he's playing the same team that played against Watford. I don't know about the subs. I don't know about Mbakani. I don't know about Snods. To be fair, I don't know if they're on the bench. So I don't know the subs. But I know it's the same team that started last week in the 3-5-2 system. And going back to your last question is that, we need to stop the rot. We need to, as footballers, I'll tell you that sometimes performances, you don't really care as long as you get a result. And today, it's one of them situations where we've got to get a result at some point. Southampton had a great result in midweek against Inter Milan. So they'll be flying high. And as you say, they're a very good side now. And we know what you're going to get from them. Charlie Austin, I just said to Franny there, I think he's scored against Hull City every time we played against him. So when we didn't sign him when he had a knee injury, didn't he? So hopefully that'll stop the rot today with this gentleman's little bit of luck, and hopefully we can get either, to be fair, even a positive result. But I think certainly at home we need 3 points today.
Yeah, we're hoping for that. Francis, from Southampton's point of view, you've had a fantastic week, haven't you, actually? You're beating Inter Milan during the week and playing not quite a second team, that wouldn't be fair to say, but resting 3-4 players who are probably going to be involved today.
That's right, yeah. I think Claude Puel, anyone that's followed Southampton or knows Southampton well, he's come in with this philosophy of rotating the squad right from the beginning of his managerial sort of charge at the club. And as you rightly say, there was Jose Font, there's Ryan Bertrand, Charlie Austin, a number of the guys that he rested during the week against Inter, which will probably, I would imagine they will figure again here today. So from Southampton's perspective, it'll be a strong lineup. But, there's a little something inside of me arriving at Hull today that feels for the club, because during my time as a player, we weren't always up the top end of the division. I've been part of teams and clubs that have been in the bottom three, fighting relegation. And to be honest, what I think got us through it in the past was a close-knit club and a dressing room that had a unique bond and spirit and a belief that you would get out of it. And yes, we know Hull are on a run of 6 defeats in the Premier League, which is not great, but somehow you just got to try and halt that little rot. And even if it's a point, like Dino said, yes, 3, you'd love 3 points today, but even if it's just a point at some stage, just halt that little run of results and then get that confidence back and try and work your way back into climbing the table. But it can be done. It is possible. It probably is going to be a long season for Hull. I wish them every success, apart from today, of course.
Absolutely. What can we expect from Southampton today? How will they approach the game?
I'm hoping that they'll approach it with the respect that the game deserves. I'm I'm sure the management wouldn't have allowed it and the players won't allow it within the dressing room, knowing a number of the guys as I do. But the Inter result was such a high for the club and such an iconic name in world football. To beat them at home in a European competition was great. I was at the game, the atmosphere was incredible. I just hope they approach today's game in the same way that they should do, because if they don't, they could quite easily come unstuck today.
Yeah, Dean, we were talking earlier, and I can't quite work out which way it might play out, but you beat Inter Milan on a Thursday night, and you're coming to Hull City on a Sunday, with all due respect to Hull City, we love very much. But you could understand why they might think, well, you know what, we'll have this, no problem.
Well, as a player, you're hoping that's going to happen. You're hoping that the Southampton boys are going to come here and think, well, yeah, Hull have been beat in the last 6. We just beat Inter. This is going to be a walk in the park. But it's not. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Sometimes you hope it does, but it doesn't. So I know today that, and Franny knows today that, Southampton will be favourites to win the game. Obviously, the back of runs that we've had. But I think it's all about us today. I just spoke to Mick there, and, basically, listen, a little bit of unfortunate with Michael Dawson's own goal last week. You come away with a point, and then you think the lads would have been more upbeat today. But as a player, when you come into today's game, it's that anxiety. How we're going to get another? How we're going to win today? How we're going to get a point instead of being confident in going to win the game? There'll be a bit of anxiety, and obviously the supporters will be the same as well.
Yeah, Francis just mentioned about the dressing room and being tight-knit and needing to be that way, and you've experienced that in your career, Dean. Are the people in that dressing room, apart from the manager, sometimes it needs to come from the player who will wind the players up in a good way and try and instill some confidence in them? Because 6 on the bounces defeats, you can understand why confidence would be a little bit low.
Yeah, of course. The manager just picks the team and obviously tries to motivate the team. But he don't play the game. And the one thing about it, when I played in my change room, I was a big character. You get some quiet ones, you get some loud ones, and the big characters have got to step forward. Bravery is all about getting on the ball when the things are going bad, not when things are going good. If they've had meetings, we used to have meetings behind the managers, in your own change room at the training ground. And I said in my column was that, listen, you've got to stand up and be counted. These characters have got to help the younger ones. Josh Tynes come in. He's come on the bench. I thought he would have played today. After Saturday. But he's on the bench again, whole lad, obviously doing well. But listen, we need to stop the rot today. Whatever the performance is, I don't care about the performance today. I've been saying to my players, look, we know what Southampton are all about. Keep it tight, stay in the game as long as you can, and hopefully we can get a goal and hold on to it.
Get up and at them a little bit like this guy used to do occasionally?
Well, listen, we both played the same way, and the one thing about it is that I know the game's changed since we played, and you can't really go into tackles and ruffle a few feathers, as I call it. Because the game is tight now. You can't go around kicking people anymore. But it's not about. So
I think he's looking at you there, Francis. Actually,
it's not about going around kicking. But when things aren't going well, then that's where you try creating something. Yeah. Phil Brown, I always tell the story. Phil Brown always used to say if it was a 0-0 and there's 20-25 minutes to go, he'd give me the nod and the wink, and I'd go do somebody. And, just to get the supporters off the seats, and then all of a sudden the atmosphere changes, and then it changes the whole, impact of the game. So,
Dino's right. Like you mentioned a number of words there, and it's so true. Characters. You need characters in the dressing room, and in a positive sense as well. It's easy when results aren't going well just to go within yourself, look after your own game, look after yourself. But especially the experienced pros, they need to help the younger boy. But again, it can sometimes, just like he's mentioned, quite literally be a tackle in a game. Just one incident that can lift the crowd, lift your teammates. It doesn't have to be a goal necessarily. I mean, I played with a player in a team that was full of players that would work and run like myself, but we were fortunate that we had a gem in our crown, Matt Letizia, who could quite literally produce something out of nothing, who could get you a goal from a free kick or a piece of brilliance, and that always gave us a little advantage in some games as well. I do the workman-like stuff, the run up and down, the tackles, and get the ball and just give it to Matt. I mean, there was a great story when Alan Ball joined the football club, bless him. He called us all together on the training ground, and we all stood in a circle around Ball, and he said, right guys, he said, this is how it's going to go down. He said, you lot, and he pointed to all the players bar Matt, I said, you're going to run around, win the ball, and when you get it, you're going to give it to him. And he pointed to Matt Letizia. And I thought, well, that's great, because that's all I do anyway. So it was an easy job description for me. But that was the philosophy. He had the belief in Matt, and this is a World Cup winner in Alan Ball, that knew what Matt was capable of, and quite literally that was how his philosophy was. Everybody get the ball. Anytime you get a chance to give it to Matt, give it to him, because he can do a bit of brilliance.
And unfortunately, we ain't got an Letizia in our team, so do you know that?
Not too many have, to be fair.
No, listen, Letiz was just a different breed. You know, he was one of them. You know, he probably was lazy. I play golf with Matt, and he's but you know, we ain't got that, so we need. And I always say, you know, in the Premier League, you need 8 players at it, 9 players at it. You can't afford to have 3 or 4 passengers, especially today, because as you say, Southampton will be solid at the back. You know, with Van Dijk's a solid centre half, and when chances come along, like they came along last week with Hernandez in the against the Watford on his, I know it was on his weaker side, but for me as a centre forward, you've got to do better. You've got to, you know, take the chances when they come along, and they don't come along very often. But hopefully, when they come along today, we get that little bit of luck. A referee's decision, you never know.
Hull City legend and club ambassador Dean Windass making little kids cry. Dean, what's going on, eh?
I know, story of my life.
Francis, I just want to ask one thing about Van Dijk, because because Dino was just talking about him. The papers today suggesting Man United might fancy him, worth an awful lot of money. He's looked fantastic. Claude Puel, the manager, said that he could go on to be one of the best central defenders in the world. You see them regularly. How good is he?
He's outstanding. I mean, this is a guy, if you get an opportunity to watch him today, I know that the whole fans will naturally be looking out for your side, but the guy is a class act. Anybody that watches Southampton on a regular basis, he's just makes the game look so easy. He's a physical presence. He's never flustered in possession of the ball. He scores goals, as he did in midweek against Inter. I actually put a tweet out this week. There's this speculation about him maybe going to another club. There's been Far East interest, I think, from a Chinese consortium about buying Southampton this week, and they were talking about £200 million to buy the club. And I put a tweet out saying, anyone thinking of buying Southampton for 200 million can forget it, because that won't even buy Van Dijk. And that's, I was obviously joking, but I think if someone like a John Stones is 50 million, who knows what Van Dijk would be worth. Great player.
But it was at Celtic, wasn't he? And I think because obviously with my son being at Rangers, the agent that I was obviously working with Josh was on about Van Dijk. Where learning his trade in Scotland, and then obviously stepping up to Southampton now. I think, is he captain now?
He has been when Font's not been playing, yeah.
So that just tells you about the kid. He's a young man, and so as you say, when the chances come along, which they might not come along very often, but you've got to take them chances, and hopefully, as you say, 3 points today, and then I can enjoy my pint afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. You changed your routine, Dean? You wait until afterwards to enjoy your pint? Is that? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Right then, gentlemen, score prediction. Dino's notoriously awful, for those of you who've not listened to Dino before. Francis tells me he's not any good either. Go on, we'll give our guest the first option, score prediction from you.
I think it's going to be a close game today. I'd like to think, and there's a natural bias from my perspective, I can see Saints going away, if they approach the game right today, with a narrow victory. So I'll go for a 1-0 win to Saints. That went down well, didn't it?
I'd been enjoying listening to him. I don't know about you guys, but okay. All right, you're entitled to your opinion, Francis. Dino?
He's going to say the same.
I'd just like to see a goal, to be fair. I think afterwards, not being too critical, but I would take a point. I would take a 1-1. But if I'll go the other side, I'll go a 1-0 win, but I'll take a 1-1.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from there, Dean. Yeah, you've covered your bets. I know, Dean. I know. Never a bad thing to do. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the game today. I think they've been good value, haven't they? I'm Alex Burgess. Please give your thanks to Francis Benali and to Dean Windass.